I will my life to the hills. No, my help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in time of a storm. You are the source of my strength, and you are the strength of my life. And I lift my hands in total praise to you.
Honey, we will hear more from him later. So, yay. Um, Robert was known by many and loved by all. That is evident by the number of people from different divisions that wanted to pay tribute to him. We will hear from Miss Mariana Cardoza with PhD Robert Shaw, Quad Jose Kapoor, BEC Miranda Fields Norfleet, Shauna Gary, and Pat Rivers, the Economic Independence Division, myself, Aging and Disability Services, Mamuna Vadakite. So please welcome Mariana.
Thank you, and thank you again to Becky Henderson. That was incredible. Thank you. My name is Mariana Cardozo. I run the Healthy Living Program for BHD, which is a health and wellness community for folks in recovery. Robert was an honorary member of our community. Some years ago, before the pandemic, we opened up one of our groups, a 5K training, walk, and jog group to DHS staff. We had a good bunch who joined in, including Morel, many of you know, Miranda, and Joanne Hamilton. And Robert jumped right in with both feet. Robert met up with us regularly to walk or to jog at the W&L track, and even joined in the 5K events that we did. He connected easily with every member of the group, despite the fact that, as Anita referenced, no matter how many times we asked, none of us were ever entirely clear on where exactly he worked. Robert made everyone feel welcome. He was always quick to ask someone how they were and to remember a detail of their lives. I've often said that he had the truest uncle energy. He never missed a chance to kid you, to cheer you on, to show interest in your life, and generally be firmly in your corner. I know that I and every member of the Healthy Living Program community really felt that and missed his presence. When I learned that Robert had died, one of the very first things that came to mind for me was Maya Angelou's beautiful piece, When Great Trees Fall. I'd like to share a tiny excerpt of that here. And when great souls die, after a period, peace floats. Slowly and always irregularly, space is filled with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. I think that Robert will always be a part of the Healthy Living Program community. He will be remembered when we retell his jokes and laugh at his antics. He will be an inspiration when we don't feel like showing up, but we do anyway. We will keep his name on our lips when we speak our truths and strive to live with joy and laughter in our hearts. We are all better off for having shared community with Robert, and he will always be a part of our team.
Well, I've known Robert Petross since 2005. We started working at 3033 Wilson Boulevard together. And there was something about that building where you would just run into people more. I don't know if it was the layout or Clarendon, but you would just see people. You know, this was pre-pandemic, and we were in the office every day. So we both worked on the 7th floor, and I had the great pleasure of seeing Robert Petross pretty much every day. You know, it was so consistent. We used to talk about anything and everything. Nothing was off limits. Some of our conversations were wildly inappropriate. It's okay. So we used to joke about anything and everything, and I just loved his sense of humor so much. So, and we even talked about work application. And I want to say that Robert Petross was very much committed to the work of the Arlington County Department of Human Services. You could see it in the way he interacted with the clients. I mean, if you happened to be in the lobby when someone came through looking a little lost and he was there, he was going to get. They were going to get great customer service. So you can see it in the way he interacted with coworkers. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Robert Petross was part of the pandemic response logistics team. And this is at a time when the offices were empty, people were scared of getting sick, people were scared of the risk. Many county employees were teleworking or collecting civil leave. He was there in person along with us in the office, working the response, helping save lives at a population level. So Robert Petross was part of a team that distributed over 200,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses to over 100,000 people. So he had an impact. And those were really trying times. I don't blame the people who are collecting civil leave. I wish I could have been amongst them. It was incredibly traumatic, and it was just such a joy to see Robert Petross, you know, because he would just brighten your day. You know, he would see him and your day would immediately get better. So Robert Petross is just what we needed, you know, at that time. And it was just so great to have him there. He always put a smile on my face. And I know I'm not the only one. You know, he had a big personality, we all know that, and he was bigger than DHS. He was a big part of the Arlington County community. You know, I would go to Langston Brown Community Center, and there was a time when I would see him on a regular basis. He was always trying to get me to join the over 40 basketball. Of course, he would tell me about his injuries and other people's injuries before making the decision. Middle school, a little bit intimidating. But you know, I'd go to vote, and he would be there, you know, volunteering with the election. You know, he would be there, you know, working the polls. So he was a big part of the Arlington community. And for me, at least, I think it's applied to a lot of us. Every interaction with Robert Petross was a positive interaction. I mean, if he had a bad day, he didn't share it. I didn't see it. You know, I always loved him again, which has brightened my day so much. And that's a pretty rare thing. He made us laugh. He made us smile. He was a friend to all. That includes complete strangers. You know, if you were a person in Brighton, Arlington, you would be really fortunate to bump into Robert Petross. So I just want to close with thank you, Robert Petross, for making the world a better place.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jose. I didn't really formally meet Robert the first time. He was just always around. At all times. I don't know how he did it. It wasn't until my supervisor kind of told me, it's like, well, yeah, Robert was volunteering the other day and told me a little bit of what he did. And I'm like, Robert? He was the lively one. He was the one waving his hands. Him? I just hadn't seen that part of him. It wasn't until we kind of joined together in a team that I really got to know him. I really got to know his kindness. I really got to know how much he cared for this organization, for the community. Of course he was volunteering. Of course he was everywhere. I would be going straight from point A to point B, no stops. He was already there. To me, Robert is everywhere. Robert is that kindness that you show to a coworker. Robert is that extra time and effort that you do just to volunteer, just to connect with someone. I was fortunate to say goodbye to them in a different way. I was leaving the country. And even then, those last moments, he was still keeping me on my toes. And if I was slipping, he would start saying something. I'm like, what are you talking about? He would still joke around. He would still tell me his ambitions. He would still tell me everything that he was looking forward to. He kept that hunger alive. He kept that hunger alive in me when I was still struggling, hitting a ceiling or not knowing what was next. It's still hard to kind of pick up projects that we were working on together. But knowing that hunger, knowing that care, when I got the news, when I got back, it was heartbreaking. Because it was a huge loss to our whole community. To our whole family as a DHS, as an Arlington family. But even then, he still was everywhere because he still left that kindness behind. I talked a little bit at the EAP meeting that we had, just to remember him a little bit. And so many people reached out that he said such kind things about me. And it just meant the world to me. I'm so lucky and incredibly happy to have met Robert and to have worked with him and to have really bonded with him and to share so much with him. And to always tell him, try to get like you, and he would say it back. To me, as I said, Robert's still everywhere because I see that kindness that he's left behind. I hope we still carry that legacy with him because he was such a great person. I'll really, really miss him. So I'm such a better person because of him.
Hi, my name is Pat Rivers. I'm the Public Assistance Bureau Director. And I had the pleasure of knowing Robert from the beginning. I think Robert and I started working together with the Black History Committee. But like everybody has said, Robert never met a stranger. And he was always there to help. Always. I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and she was telling me about Robert always being at the races. She says, just like Jose just said, she didn't know how he got there, but he always showed up. He was there. And he always had on the best because he was supporting somebody on who's doing a race, either a 5K or 10K or something. Always. I was really fortunate, like I said, I've been here 22 years. I was fortunate to know Robert, and I'm so glad that I did.
Hello, my name is Shauna Guerin, part of the Public Assistance Bureau. I really can't recall the first time I met him. I always just ran into him in passing. I met him through the BEC Black History Month program. I met him through Gina. He would just always pop up. I can't think of any specific stories at this point in time, but one of the things that I admire about him is just the small things that he would do. And you hear with all the stories that everyone's been telling these past couple of months, like he's touched everyone that he's encountered. Like even when I've gone out with him, just coming across random strangers, he would just talk and immediately that person would just start laughing. When I think of Robert Petross, I think of joy and being in an environment that we're in, and pretty much anyone, like pretty much in any work environment, you're in areas where sometimes you're stressed or filled with anxiety. And when you come across Robert Petross, that feeling goes away. And so when I think of him, I think of joy. And I think of always trying to do the small things to help impact people because it really does make sense. I don't think I'm gonna get through this. I wrote everything down just in case. My name is Miranda. I've been a member of the Black Employee Council for 6 years. Our 2024 Black History Program is celebrating the life and legacy of our dear friend Robert. As I share the experiences of Robert and I'm giving him the motto, "No one is a stranger." Stated that earlier. Robert was an incredible individual dedicated to put a smile on everyone's face and never knowing a stranger. Robert's kindness and compassion shone through as everyone, making sure they felt seen and valued. In 2018, the Black History Planning Committee had a program which I attended. It was educational, entertaining, and I wanted to be a part of it. On one of my many walks around the village, I seen Robert and told him it was nice and I wanted to be a part. And he reached out when the plan begun. One of the funniest experiences I had with Robert was the first year on BET. During the planning, I noticed in the large southern menu, some food I've never even heard of. The day the program went on, the day of the program went on a bit too long. People started moving around in their seats. He kept looking around, giving me the eye, and the program needed to end. Eventually, he stood up and motioned for us to serve. As if we were about to serve, and then started making noise with serving utensils. There was a table from one end to the other end, full of food, and another side table. Third, at the end, several coworkers was eating and drinking. Robert stopped with a serious face and asked them, "Are you enjoying the repast?" They said, no idea what a repast was. All I could do was laugh. The BEC often goes out in the community to interview residents or highlight their business and take it to the street segments. During these events, we usually have a skit so we can complete the filming within a timely manner. Following the skit and completing in a timely manner was not Robert's idea. Robert was spontaneous and seen a different vision upon arrival each time. When we went to report the MLK Memorial, Robert had ventured off and met no one in the guests to share their experience of MLK with us. He comes back to me, so I can let Morel know of the change of plans. Because he knew and trusted she would pull it off. Then he ventured off and he met another young couple who was traveling and writing a blog about living off a penny a day. Somehow Robert interviewed them and we ended up on their video. Robert's ability to connect with people from all walks of life was truly remarkable and left a lasting impression on all. As you heard, Robert was a part of the health program of walks, trained with Fat Pay. Not only did he train, but he was a motivator for all. One day, a young lady asked if he was in group meetup. And of course, he said yes. Everyone just looked at him and shook their head. Then I said, "Robert." He then laughed, got serious, told the lady they may be on a track. Later, Robert was working out with them after our walk. The weekend before Robert passed, Morel and I did the HIV 5K and we were laughing about Robert. We decided to stop past where he hang out, but no Robert. That Tuesday, Nita sent an email of his passing. So the BEC and I was in total shock. We were all haunted memories of our brother Robert and the legacy he left behind. The majority of our fondest memories of Robert revolve around the laughter and jokes he shared. Though Robert may no longer be with us physically, continue to honor the motto, "No one is a stranger in the ability to show kindness to your coworkers and generosity in your heart." That's it.
Everybody who is on BEC EEC leadership, would you please come forward? On behalf of our president, Burrell White, she cannot be here today. And the entire leadership team, we would like to present to the family a certificate of memorial in honor of Robert. Certificate says Black Excellence Award. Certificate of memorial presented to the family of Robert Petros by the Black Employees Council for his impact and influence on VEC program and development. Signed, our president, Morel White. Additionally, the VEC has renamed our Black Excellence Awards in honor of him. We presented our first annual award of merit, the Robert Petros Overall Excellence Award to Ms. Ina Chandler at last week's Black History Month proclamation. His legacy will live on. Yeah, I guess I'm next, but. I guess I'm just a repeat of what everybody has said about Rob, how funny he was, how joyous he was. He never knew what he did, he just saw Rob. So Rob and I, we both love comedy. So we both kind of fed off each other when we did our comedy. So Rob asked me one day, he was like, "Hey, Sonya." I was like, "What?" And, why don't you come on take a comedy class with me? I said, "What comedy class, Rob?" "Oh, at the library. It's free." If it's free, okay. So that's what I did. Rob and I took the comedy class. So Rob and I, we met, some comics, and at the end of the program, you had to do your own show. my yin to my yang.
Greetings. Department of Human Services, leadership, family, friends, colleagues, the whole village. The whole village is here. I'm Maimunda Duckenfield, the Director of Aging and Disability Services. I see a lot of familiar faces and new faces. Robert was with us for all of his years, in case you didn't know. A lot of you probably didn't know that, because really, he was ambassador. And I want to read the definition of an ambassador. An accredited diplomat sent by a country as its official representative. Wasn't a foreign country, it was right here. He was our ambassador. As you all have heard, he knew no stranger. He always extended the olive branch. He was always giving, generous, caring, cool, calm, and collected. Robert left his presence and his impact everywhere he went, and we heard that. Why is it that there's been a theme throughout every single speaker? That's because Robert did that for all of us. He had a theme. And he was so authentic. He was so sincere. To know him, you had to love him. And he left us so many lessons, as we've heard. To be kind, to treat your stranger like a friend, to connect with people in meaningful ways, to engage in caring ways, to make the most of your experience while you're here. While we're here, his gift to us is to make the most of life. What life has to offer us. Because his life was a gift. His life will never be forgotten. We can all remember the time when we have engaged with Robert. Isn't that right? Yes. And we will carry that on. Robert was with Aging and Disability Services, as I mentioned, but he was with all of us. And, you know, when I came in 2010, I was not supervising Robert, but I got to know Robert. And it really took me time to get to know Robert because he had so many dimensions, right? Because he was an ambassador and I couldn't quite figure him out. And for those that know me, I love to connect. And so that's what we had in common. But I learned that over time by really observing him in all of DHS. And I said, oh my gosh, he's a connector. You know, he is over here and the first floor, he's with EID, hanging out with Heather and the colleagues at EID. He's on the third floor, public health. He's across the street at the Leaders. At the cafe, but that's their own. This man is a connector. I really do need to take time to get to know him and not about the work. Because when you get to know people and who they represent and who they are, work is easier. And that's what he taught us. is really to get to know him. And if you stand too far back, then how do you really get to know a person? You have to be up close and personal. And that's what I ended up doing with Robert. And I never looked back, and I saw his gift, and I saw his impact. He did so much for our division. Developmental services, they're in the house, raise your hand. He started with developmental services. He supported all of the operations, he was an operations guy. And then he went on and worked with Talisha, raised your hand, Carlo, Jose. And he just did amazing things. And when we ever brought in new staff, guess who we needed to appoint? And help to onboard the new staff, because he knew A to Z. He knew the skinny, if you know what I mean. As Anita mentioned, he had eyes and ears everywhere. He could get to anywhere in a second, faster than Amtrak. Faster than a flight ticket. I mean, so you really wanted to get to know him. He was someone, you know how you always need someone in your corner? Robert was the one to have in your corner. And when you had him in your corner, you knew that you were gonna stay connected and engaged in meaningful ways. And so anybody that came to the division, Robert had his way of getting to know them, making them feel welcomed, making them feel belonged. He was the ambassador. And so 4 C's that have been a theme about Robert: caring, connection, commitment. It was coming, sorry. Commitment and devotion to the work, to the community in which he served. And he was not an Arlington County resident. Get that? He was Alexandria City resident. That teaches us a lesson. You do not have to be a resident of Arlington County to be engaged in meaningful ways in all corners. You are a part of Arlington County by association of the work you do in the community you serve. Taught us that. And then last, community. Community. He created a sense of community amongst all of us. Look at all of us. We're beautiful people. We're individuals with gifts and strengths. And so I leave that with you all, the 4 C's. Caring, committed, community, there's one more, and connection. Remember that, and I know you will, because you remember Robert, and he will live with us forevermore. Thank you to the family. Thank you to LaVoice. Thank you to Talisha, Heather. Who else was a part of Morel? And the BEC helped to put this together and brought us together as a community. Thank you so much.
And then I got myself together. Have a special video message. President Robert Spirit. Real white. People not attend today.
My name is Morel White. I am the president of the Arlington Black Employees Council. I am also a former DHS colleague of Robert Petross. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Morel White. I am the president of the Arlington Black Employees Council. I am also a former DHS colleague of Robert Petross and someone who I considered a very close friend. Let me start by apologizing for my absence today. I am crushed about it, but unfortunately I have work obligations that did not allow me to be there today. But I'm counting on my BEC colleagues to go ahead and carry this program. And by this point in the program, that should have already been displayed. When I think about Robert Petross, there's so many things that come to mind. If I were to tell all of my stories and all of my observations, we would be here for quite a long time, and I only have a few minutes to reflect, but I would share with you that I was very, very hurt when I got the information from Hytham that Robert had passed, and even more devastated when I heard that it was from a heart attack, because in my mind, if Robert had a heart attack, he was in a lot of pain because he had the hugest heart. Robert was an amazing person. Robert, some of the things that made him so special is Robert never wanted praise or even sometimes not even thanks for the things that he did. And he did so much for so many people. And I can only imagine how his family feels, because so many people reached out to me and talked about the way Robert had touched them or welcomed them to the county, special deeds that he had done. And I mean, all over the county, not just at DHS. You know, now that I work in Parks and Recreation, I had mentioned Robert's name, and so many people there knew him and were just devastated, and just talked about how funny he was, how nice he was, how helpful he was. I know that a lot of people talk about angels being here on earth, and I definitely think that Robert was one of them. And he definitely blessed my life in a lot of ways. Robert saw things in me that I didn't even see for myself. I remember when Robert took the stand-up comedy class, and he was so excited about it because we all know Robert is hysterical. And I gathered some people to go to his showcase because we wanted to support him. And Robert got on stage and he was doing this rehearsed routine, and it was absolutely awful. It really was. And afterwards, we talked, and he was like, "So Morel, what'd you really think?" And I said, "Robert, you are naturally funny." I said, "The things you do and say on a daily basis are extremely funny. So I think if you had stayed more in that vein and just been natural and not did a rehearsed routine, you would have been fine." And, you know, we had some banter back and forth in the car, and then I started saying some silly stuff, and then Robert was like, "You know, you need to take that class. You are extremely funny." And I said, "Yeah, but Robert, I don't think I'm funny." I said, "It always shocks me when other people laugh at stuff that I say." And he was like, "No." He said, "You're one of the few people that can crack me up." And so we laughed a lot together. We did the Healthy Living program together. Robert was an absolute beast on the track. I'd have to ask Mariana to be sure, but I know we don't really discuss age. But I'm pretty sure Robert was probably the senior person in our healthy living group, and he was the fastest. Robert used to get out on that track, or we would do our races, and he was amazing. So it never, it never ceased to amaze me how much that he loved to walk, he loved to run. Robert loved to share. He was a part of my happy hour group, and that whole crew also is devastated at the loss. Robert was an intricate part of the Black Employees Council. He was often the only male. He was definitely the most active male. And he put up with the ribbing from the ladies very well. And he, in his own way, he knew how to handle us. Many of his ideas we used. And so in many ways, he made us successful, especially with his focus on doing things in a spontaneous way. I know my life will not be the same without Robert being around. I want to say to his family, thank you for sharing Robert with us all of these years. I think all of our lives are better and richer for it. And I can only imagine how you feel at the loss, because this whole region is devastated. I thank everyone for coming to his memorial today. We did a lot of work to plan it. I want to thank DHS for collaborating with the Black Employees Council. We indeed made this our Black History Month program for DHS. And we dedicate it to Robert's memory. I hope you all are able to grieve. And if I could leave you with one thought when I think about Robert, I would love to have one more chance to tell Robert what he really meant to me. And I'm pretty sure that he's listening. And I think he's probably embarrassed because he doesn't like all this attention, and I know that the room is absolutely full today. So I would ask each of you in Robert's memory to just make an attempt to let people know how you feel about them before they're gone. Because I sure wish I could have done that with Robert. I thank all of you for coming today. Again, I thank the BEC for holding the program together in my absence. Please enjoy the rest of the program and enjoy the catering that we provided for you today. Robert loved good food. He loved good music. I hope you like the slideshow. And God bless you all. To his family, safe travels. Thank you to those that are watching on Zoom. And to my DHS family, take care.
Great. At church. It'll be like church now. Got 2 minutes. At least we gonna do 10 people. I got my time counter over there. And we got a lot in the hall. Right here first.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah. I just want to tell the family, thank you very much for having me here. And, Robert was a very calm person. Very friendly. Robert used to make everyone laugh. And Robert used to come to the weeds, buy things, and Robert made me laugh. And I just want to tell you, I knew him since, your building. And I just want to tell the family, thank you very much for everything. And especially for the sister. Come up here. It's an honor of you because you're a very special person and I just want to let everybody know that she's one of my very special. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Real quick. Rob and I know each other from photo together, a very long time, and time we be in the studio and he was taking pictures of pets and everything. He used to crack jokes all the time. If you ever stood around Rob for longer than 2 minutes and did not laugh, something's wrong. But something short that I want to share with that from the Bible. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. If you ran across Rob, you knew fully well exactly where he came from. Come from here, come from here.
Yeah.
And every time that we talk, crack jokes, I told Tony a little while ago that we had taken lunch, or we did lunch a week or so before he went on to glory, that the bartender had asked, who would like to have him, we got into a conversation. And I asked her, I said, are you still playing basketball? She said, no, I'm still in need and all the rest of that. So Rob said, so we can play that. She said, I play overseas. Rob said, so you play underseas too? But he said it with such a straight face. But just to know that about Rob, Rob always kept a smile on your face. No matter where he went to, no matter who he was around, always kept a smile on your face. Like I said again, if you did not laugh, you did not smile, being around Rob for less than a minute, something's wrong with you.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tony Turnage. Met Rob here, part of the Black History Program. We ended up talking, I'm just gonna kind of go down this list. We ended up talking because of music. I had a jazz CD that, let me get that CD, but gave it to him. From there, we started talking about photography. And he done a lot of events with me and Russell here. And then we became pretty good friends. And then he became a family. He put, the one thing I'll say about family is a serious, health scare, became paralyzed. We went down to Charlotte to help get her stuff. It was Rob who would sometimes see my aunt up here when she was coming up here for services. She said, I saw your buddy today. That was so crazy. And the other thing that me and Rob did on a frequent basis, and we actually did it about 2 days before he passed away. I know he loves food. Yeah. I would do tease, Rob. I can tell when you're enjoying your food. All I hear is Push me to get out of my comfort zone. Times that I doubted myself, I was saying, nah, you don't got that. You do that without a breeze, you'll be great at it. And of course, everybody's talking about the laughter, so I'll end with a funny story. So Rob, Russ, and I go to shoot a wedding in Ocean City. All three of us are supposed to be doing certain duties. And so they're doing the cheers toast. Best man made an honor. And as the best man's finishing his toast, I'm trying to swing around and catch all of the photos. Well, guess who's toasting? If he's one of the. Can't help it, but it's those type of stories that bring laughter, it's a big smile on your face. Every time I'm turning around, Rob is popping up some way in memory. So I say to you all, remember your friends, remember your family, tell them that you love them often. And I had plans, how long we did.
Anyone else want to make sure?
Good afternoon, everybody. Some of you may know me, some of you not. My name is Alyssa McGowan. I'm the supervisor of safety and security for Arlington County Public Schools over at central office. I wasn't planning on speaking today, but everybody just made me feel very comfortable with all the laughs, good memories, so I thought I would share how Robert made me feel. I've been working at central office since early May as the front desk coordinator. I also wear a couple other hats within the department, but not a lot of people know that. And the first time I met Rob, he walked into the building, you know, his walk.
Yeah.
A little bit of a bump. I was like, oh, I like this guy. I said, good afternoon, sir. How you doing today? I said, I'm doing just fine. How you doing? Came and sat next to me. Oh, well, baby's a bit. We got a lucky room. Can I get you some refreshments? And that's the warmth that came from him, and his personality made me recall the relationship I had with my grandfather. My grandfather was my best friend. He was my father figure. And him making that connection with me that day meant something to me. And it carried on for many weeks. He would come when he worked. And he would make a point to come and sit with me and ask me how I was doing and get to know me on a real, authentic, and genuine level. I told him about my dreams, my aspirations, my hobbies, about the people that I love. And he made me make him a promise that I plan to keep. That promise was to never give up. Always show up with a smile on your face. Because you never know what anybody's going through. Wow. And to always follow through on my dreams and my aspirations. And I plan on doing that. The last day that I saw him was about 2 days before I heard the news. Danny came downstairs and told me. And I could feel his energy shift. It was an energy I didn't recognize on Rob. And so I made it a point that day to spend a little extra time listening to him. A little extra time talking to him and letting him know that I hear him. And I thank him for always being there for me and for listening to me and getting to know me. And in a way, that was our goodbyes. So I wanted to say thank you to his family for sharing such a beautiful person. Such a beautiful. He really meant a lot to me in the short period of time that I knew him. And I just want to thank you.
We're now hear from the board.
I'd like to introduce to this entire room, this is Mrs. Erin Willerko. This is who actually got Robert the job here 20 years ago.
There's an angel in heaven looking over you, and there's an angel right here with you.
Yeah.
The military, as a Flavina, she's the first one that ever hired me to my job 31 years ago. And I gotta get back. I'm with the Marine Corps and the Army right here at Fort Minor right now. So can you tape her for me? Can you tape her? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have the pleasure actually of introducing to you Robert's amazing sister, but I first would like to acknowledge Robert's amazing mother.
Yes.
Who is watching the program. So thank you. Robert has several other family that's online joining today and some family and friends that are here today. So we thank you so much for letting us partake in this celebration of his life today. So I had the pleasure of actually being one of Robert's 3 supervisors with the county. I supervised him for 6 years, Talisha for the last 2 years. And his first supervisor for 12 years is also online, Joanna Lawrence, who's joining us here today. And I just want to share one quick story, maybe two, about Robert, just a memory that I have. I went to a training, and Robert loved trainings, but he used and implemented every single thing. If he went to a training, he was back the next day telling me how he was going to implement and do things. So you didn't have to wait for Robert to do anything. He was always 2, 3, 4, 20 steps ahead of me. I'm sitting in this training. It was for performance appraisals, writing performance appraisals for supervisors. And you have to approve as a supervisor, the training for people to go to. So I'm sitting in this training on one versus second row. And I hear somebody, several rows back asking questions, and it's Robert. And Robert's sitting there, he probably asked more questions than any other supervisor sitting there. And I'm thinking, one, I know I didn't approve you. Because go to the training, it's done, and I'm, at the end, I'm like, how'd you come to get to this training? So he said, I want to know what you all know. Was a dedicated worker, so he might have been in different places here and there, and then people got to know him. But Robert's work was always done. He was a hard worker. He actually has one of the strongest work ethics of anyone that I've met before. So I never, ever, ever did we have to remind him, say, hey, Robert, where is this, where is that? His work was done. He was probably in other places, but Robert's work here. He had plenty of it to do. And then the other thing, excuse me, I don't know if this was your experience, Alicia, but when I came to do Robert's performance training, Robert would come with a spreadsheet. And with his data, he was going to tell you everything in terms of what he did, throughout the year, make sure you remembered, edit what you wrote. But he was an amazing, amazing human being. And so too, Robert's mom, who is watching, and she has a smile like Robert's that will light up. And so thank you for sharing with us the most amazing human being that some of us will ever have the pleasure.
And it is I think a requirement to be amazing to be in Robert's family. I'm gonna introduce you to his sister and just give a little bit from her bio here. Bishop, Dr. Lavinia Lewis Williams, an entrepreneur, mentor, she's a life coach, philanthropist, a veterans advocate, educator, author, respected international conference speaker, lecturer. Bishop Williams is dedicated to preparing people for ministry in their own marketplace. Her ministry spans many years and many continents. She's actually going to Africa, in a couple of weeks, including pastoring in Sardinia and Naples, Italy. Bishop Williams is co-founder of Hallelujah International Ministries and founding president of the Collegiate Training Institute. The Dr. Lavinia Ministries Covenant of Hope Church, which she founded without walls. Dr. Williams' ministry has led her to travel extensively throughout Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. She has launched countless ministry and training. Her life's mission flows from a heart full of purpose to educate, inspire, and inform. And I've been actually following her podcast, so I can share that information. We did a great one this week on Black History Month and Blacks in art as well. So if you have a chance to listen to that, it's amazing. So I am delighted and honored to introduce Robert's amazing sister, Bishop Dr. Lavinia.
I want to. What an amazing organization. I know that Arlington's in good hands. People such as you. I'm so honored to stand here before you, and I want to thank you, LaVoice, for introducing me. I want to thank all of you. I'm almost speechless, and I want to thank my mom. Isn't she beautiful? Thank you so much. My beautiful niece, Sonia Hunter. I love you. And I want to thank my family members, came from Chicago. Terry, God bless you. Thank you, stand up. I want to thank you. Oh my God, I didn't even know they were here. Obama's interpreter is here. God bless you. Dr. Rico, thank you. You all can stand. I'm not betting. Please stand. And I just thank you all. Thank you. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to Felicia Williams. Thank you for everything. Morel White, thank you so much. I have really watched many of the BEC's programs from home. I want to thank you. Heather, Jenner, I want to thank you. And LaVoice, again, Reed, I want to thank you. I also want to thank Sonia Salon. I want to thank you all. I don't really know where to start because you all have been such a blessing to my brother and brought so much love to our home. And Tony, thank you so much. I mean, I just don't, I do know what he'd say. Not the all. Well, if I could share a short story with you. When Robert was born, I was 8 years old. And when my mother came home, for an 8-year-old girl, that's like having a real baby doll, right? 8 years old. And so I would, when he would cry at night and my mother would get up and she'd make his bottle and she'd change his diaper, I would jump up too. As soon as I heard him cry, I'd jump up. And so I told her one night, I said, Mom, I can do this. She said, oh, no. I said, yes, I can, Mom. I said, if you let me, I can feed him, I can change his diaper. I said, you won't have to get up anymore. And she's like, oh, no. So she started training me. She let me feed him and change his diaper. And then I said one night he cried. I said, you don't have to get up. And so she got up and she said, sit on the couch, and she put Robert in my arms. And I began to feed him, and she can tip away now, right? He's in good hands. But she came back to check on him, and there I was. So I had fallen asleep. But my mother said something. She said, I put him in your arms. She said, and I don't think I ever really got my son back. Because I was like the second mom to Robert. And I'm so grateful to my mother for giving me such a wonderful brother. Robert's so kind, everything that you said, he was the same way at home. And my mother always said, he never gave her any problems. Robert was a good kid. He was just a kind person. Everyone loved him everywhere that he went. He always wanted to make someone happy. And I want to thank you all. Robert's presence is so powerful. Last night, my boys, I went and I was packing up some things, and I could feel his presence. I could feel his love. And I just began to ask God, I said, God, give me the strength to do this. And I didn't feel sad, but I felt his presence and his joy. And then I just felt like, wow, this is like, Robert went on vacation maybe once or twice a year. I see people nodding, not much, but I said, this is like Robert has gone on vacation. I began to feel lighter. And then I said, he's like he's going on vacation. And just like when he would go on vacation, I would see him again. That was my assurance last night. Robert, I'll see you again. That's how much I love my brother. My brother was a good uncle. Oh my God, the best uncle, the best, my one and only brother. And then you talked about, and when I would come home, Robert always had dinner cooked for me. I mentioned that I traveled quite a bit. When I returned home this time from my last travel, it was kind of odd. My dinner wasn't on the stove. Everything was just like I left it. He would tidy up, fix things up for me. And I said, God, this is going to be a little different, but I know that my brother loves me, and I know that my brother is very, very loved. You all really knew my brother. You really knew him. I want to share one more story with you. I'm a writer. And I said to Robert once, I said, Robert, you know, I wish I could paint. I said, because I see such beautiful things, landscape and things. I wish I could paint and share these things that I see with others. And my brother said to me, he said, Vini, that's my nickname, said, you are an artist. He said, you paint with your words. He told me that about 18 years ago. About 4 days before Robert passed, I said, Robert, do you remember when you told me, and I reshared that story with him? And his eyes watered up. And I said, wow, that really touched him. And he just got up and he just walked away. So I believe that there was something that was happening there, because that story meant a lot to him. And now, as I close, in Robert's favorite fashion, we were out once and Robert was taking pictures, you know, with his camera, he's taking pictures. So there was a lady kind of watching him like, wow, and he's taking pictures. And he said, would you like to take a picture? Yeah, he said, sure, Robert fashion. And he put the camera in her hand. And then he said, oh, wait a minute. Are you right-eyed or left-eyed? That was funny, but then when she said to him, you know, I don't know. So I want to say to each of you, thank you for adding so much to our family. You really made a difficult time much easier. And I want to thank you all, this admin staff here, the HR staff, the supervisors, all of you. We read those cards and the things that you wrote about Robert. And can I have my scarf for a minute? Yes. I even want to share with you. This scarf was made by the weavers. This was made by the weavers. Wow. And my mother has a beautiful one made by the weavers as well. And we cherish this. And when one of the young ladies saw it, she said, we made that especially for you. That's how thoughtful Robert is. So I want to say, God bless you and thank you so much. This means the world to me and to my family, to my beautiful mother. Mom, wave, please. If you hear me, wave. Yeah. Just if I may, so humbly, just speak the peace of God upon you and your families and everyone that is connected to you. I speak the love and the power and the divine protection of Almighty God. Whatever your faith may be, I speak to you love and peace. I love you. So much. Thank you so much. Wow, with that.
Mr. Hakeem Henderson received his bachelor's degree in vocal performance at Morgan State University, Baltimore, North Carolina, under Dr. Lester Green. Hakeem went on to receive his master's in performance at the Royal College of Music in Manchester, England, where he was awarded a scholarship from the Wake Fund. He studied under baritone Michael Harper and tenor Thomas Shore. Hakeem was part of the 2020 World the World Back Competition, the 2016 CAAPA Scholarship recipient, and a finalist in the 2022 George and Michael Kennedy Award for the Senior of Strauss competition. He was also a finalist in the second annual Williams Howard competition. Please welcome again the Angel Voice of Mr. Hakeem Henderson.
God bless you all. Thank you. Whoa, there was a woman in the Bible days. She had been sick so very long. But she heard about Jesus was passing by, so she joined the gathering throng. And while she was pushing her way through, someone asked her, what are you trying to do? She said, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole. And she cried, oh Lord, and oh Lord, and whoa, Lord. She said, if I could touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole. And well, she spent her money here and there until she had no more to spend. The doctors, they done all they could, but their medicine was no more good. And when she touched him, the Savior didn't see. But still he turned around and cried, somebody touch me. She said it was I who just want to touch the hem of your garment. I know I'll be made whole right now. And she stood there crying, oh Lord, and oh Lord, and whoa, Lord, oh Lord. She said, if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be made whole right now.
I would like to thank you all for participating now today to celebrate Raw. And now we will have a reception. I'm just gonna ask that we serve our special guests first, and then everybody can follow. There is a room next door where our guests can sit and eat as well. So, our president has given me some instructions. She said, remind you all of our Pox program that's coming up on, February 28th. That would be our new branch for the BEC. And also, she wanted me to say that she requested Hakeem to sing that song for Robert. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you.
Nice. Was expected to try it. Are you really? And thank you all for joining us online.
And when there's trouble on my mind and no place to turn, there's a lesson I've learned from you. You are my good friend. That's what you are, my only true friend. You are my star, 'cause when I need you, you're always by my side. When trouble